Hello there, and a very good evening, and welcome along to our Facebook Live from the Half Yard Sewing Club here in my front room, actually, which is where I do most of my sewing and where we do the filming and where I do the designing and we do everything else, really. So, as usual, if you've seen the Facebook Lives before, I'd love to know where in the world you are. What time is it where you are now, and what you're doing. Is it morning? Is it afternoon? Are you sewing? Are you just about to go to bed? So it'd be lovely to hear about what's happening there. I'd also like to explain a little bit more about the Half Yard Club for those of you who have never seen us before. So we've been going now since last August. We've got hundreds and hundreds of subscribers, which is really nice. And this is all part of what we do once a month. We have the Facebook Live. You get a free project, or you get a project every month, basically. So you'll have it could be quilting, it could be bag making, it could be a little bit of dressmaking, it could be homewares. I try to vary it as much as I can from one month to the other. You will have a video to watch, so you've got full instructions on how to make something, and you've got a downloadable pattern and step-by-step instructions. And the reason we've done it that way is so that everybody, wherever you are in the world, can enjoy the club and the benefits from the club. But then you get extras. You're going to get extra patterns. You're going to get extra projects. You'll get the block of the month where you can start to make up a quilt along with the rest of us. We're on block 2 at the moment. You have the interaction, and you've got pages and pages of hints and tips. And we've got something brand new for you this month as well, which I hope you'll go and discover now if you haven't discovered already, which is Ask a Member, which is a forum on the website where you can talk to each other privately. It's just for the members. So I'm going to chip in as well and answer as many questions as I can. But I thought it's a lovely way of building up the community. The whole website isn't me talking at you. It's involvement from you to me and you to the other members, and this Ask a Member area gives you a chance to get to know each other as well. So maybe for now, if you don't have a question, it could be introduce yourself to a member. Let's hear about you and who you are and where you're from and what you'd like to see from the club as well. Because again, it works two ways. So I just don't want to throw lots of projects at you. I'd like you to come back as well and say, how about doing this and how about doing that? We'll see what we can do. So, Marge from Barnsley, hello. South Carolina, USA, hi Brandy. And Karen from Derby, and Sue from Oxford, and Jackie from Nottingham, and Catherine, present. Carol from Edgware, Sue from Middlesex. Oh wow, we've got loads of you. Lisa, hi Lisa. She's in Teignmouth, and Marilyn from North Carolina, and Veronica, how do I join? Okay. You'll need to go to the website, and I've got something special for you as well, which is all the W's, halfyardsewingclub.com. Now, I know that Olivia, one of the team, is going to be watching tonight, so she'll put a post on here probably with the details of how to actually join. And I've got a code for you, which means you can get your first month for free. So if you type in welcome in capital letters and then 18, when you go in to register your details, you'll need to register all of your details to do that, but you'll be asked for your code, and when you type that in, you're going to get your first month for free. So what? What will you get for your first month for free? Well, all of the projects and all of the different areas of the website that you can access are available for a whole year. So if you join now, you'll have the satchel, which is this month's project. But you'll also have last month's project, and the project from the month before, and the month before, and the month before, and the month before, all the way back to last August when we started it, for absolutely free. Now that's good value, isn't it? So again, we'll put all the details on your screen. Hi Sharon from Belfast, and Sarah, congratulations on your award. Oh, thank you so much. I've had the most amazing last 3 days at the NEC. I'll tell you all about that in just a second. We need to do some more highs to Sarah and Carol and Anne, and congratulations again, thank you. And Elizabeth from Kilkenny Ireland, and Polly from Exeter, and Margaret from Barrow-in-Furness, and Brenda from Louisville in Kentucky. And Anne says congratulations again, thank you. And there you go, Veronica, there's all of your details on how you can join the club and the code that you need to give to get it's more than a month free, isn't it? It's loads you get for free. Oh, we do lots of giveaways and competitions and all kinds of stuff on there. It's really good fun. Jackie, hi Jackie, congratulations on the awards, dar mate. Eddie from Stockport, and hi Alan. She's made Alan. He's made a patchwork clutch bag, lovely. And Linda, congratulations. And Joan from Farnham. And I could spend the whole hour here just going through where you're all from, can't I? Thank you very much. Now then, last few days. Oh, so excited. I was at the NEC, which for those of you out of the country who've never heard of it, is the National Exhibition Centre, which is a huge exhibition centre in Birmingham, right in the centre of England. And they had a trade show, which is nicknamed Stitches because it's mostly about the sewing. And it's at these shows where the awards are given out from. What's really nice is it's mostly people who have voted through magazines. And I got 7 awards. I had 4 winners, including Most Inspirational Sewing Personality of the Year, and Craft Influencer of the Year, and Social Media Influencer of the Year, and Best Craft and Haberdashery Range. And then I got highly commended, that's coming second, in Sewing Designer of the Year, and 2 of my craft books. I think that adds up to 7. So I came home with a big pile of awards, which I'm making space on my wall for. I'm so pleased. But they were from viewers from magazines, and then there was the Craft Business Awards as well, which is really exciting. Ooh, really excited. Thank you very much, Marilyn. Lisa's Deb, is the pattern for the satchel the same as the paper pattern you bought out a couple of years ago? No. Similar, but it's bigger, and there's more to this one because it's got quilting and it's got applique on there as well. Tried making it, but it was a resounding fail. Oh, Lisa, this one does have a video with it because it's the main project of the month. So you'll have the pattern, you'll have the instructions, and you've got a video as well. And Kathy from Belgium, thank you very much. And Kim from California, hello. Sandra said congratulations. I know you can read all of these, but I think it's quite nice to say hello to everybody. Thanks, Kim. Hi, Elizabeth. North Lanarkshire, hi, Liz. Thank you, Jenny. And Linda, and hi Shirley and Tony. Thank you very much for all of your comments. I'm still up there somewhere. I'm still floating around on cloud 9. Anyway, business. We've got questions from you. We've had a couple of questions about the satchel, and then another few questions as well. So I'll take you through those. Jenny from Solihull wants to know, what type of foam do I use? On any tips on using it? The foam I use in the satchel is a Bosal. This is it. I'll switch to my top camera so you can see. It's going to look very white. It's slightly rough on one side and smooth on the other. And the rough bit is the fusible bit. So you iron this to the back of your outer fabric, and the reason I iron it to the outer fabric is because that's the bit that you actually feel. The only time I wouldn't iron it to the outer fabric is if you're using a fabric that will melt. So if you're using a faux leather or a PVC or laminated fabric or something like that. And as for tips on using it, it's quite thick. It's about 1/4 of an inch in thickness, but it's really squishy and soft, so it's very easy to sew through. But if you're going around curves like this, or if you've got 2 pieces of the foam going into a seam and your fabric's quite heavy, you may want to trim the foam back. You can even peel the fabric back and trim the foam right up to the stitch lines, just so that you get less bulk in the stitches. When you're making a bag like this one that Tina Elvey made, do you know, this is back in 2017. I had 2 of my design team making up a couple of the bags. So there was this one and one with cats on it, which is here, which is made by Sally, because I don't like to just make something and put it out there without somebody else, at least 1 or 2 people, actually checking everything over and making sure I've got it right, or making sure things are workable. And the team I have, Jack is one of them who's on here today, they put things through their paces and they come back with honest feedback. So if they'd have come back and said, well, that doesn't work, that's not very good, those sizes aren't right, then that's taken on board and things change. So this one Tina made. And what I'm suggesting with the satchel particularly is that you use your foam on the large piece that goes all the way down, so that's the whole of the flap and the back, and that you could use it on maybe the front panel here, but not on the rest. Tina hasn't with this one, she's used a fusible fleece. And the reason for that is because you get the rigidity from the back and the flap, and it makes it easier to sew if you keep the pockets and the side panels a little bit softer. And if it's any kind of bag, not with a satchel, it doesn't have the zip in it, but if it's any kind of bag with a zip, then avoid using the foam around a zip, it's just going to be too bulky. So I hope that explains. Alicia says, would it be easier to use a double-sided foam instead of single-sided so that the foam fuses all in one go? No, because the bags have linings. All my bags have a lining, so at some point they're going to be bagged out, which means that the whole thing is going to be turned from inside out to right side out. So imagine if you had your piece of foam, so there's your bag, and you've got fabric fused on both sides, you can't turn it inside out. So double-sided has its place, and I'd say its place is in placemats. But for bag making, I wouldn't use it for bag making, Alicia, so I hope that's helped. Yeah, what else have we got? Jan, hi Linda in Hemel Hempstead, and Elizabeth, thank you. And Lisa says, I'll be making one then, I'll send you a picture when it's made. I hope so. Alan, love the Ask the Member idea. Thanks, Alan. Go and join in there and ask a few questions or go introduce yourself. Shelley from Surrey and Amy from the North Pole. I don't think we've had a North Polar before. Is it cold? Was it? I can't imagine. What's it like up there at the moment right now? Is that the area where it's dark for most of the time? Or so very naive on geography, but I'd love to know. Sue says, will you be at Knit and Stitch at Olympia next week? Not sure at the moment. I need to catch up with my daughter and ask if she's doing anything Friday and Saturday. I don't know yet. We have to get babysitters and things these days, but I'd like to. I don't. Marilyn, so happy I managed to get your books in the USA. Thank you. Enjoy, Marilyn. Thank you. Having trouble putting the base in your bags in the Build a Bag book, says Rachel from Bedfordshire. I've got some tips for base as in bags because I've had a few questions. So, firstly, with the Build a Bag books, most of the larger panels you're going to put on fold. So you'll say you've got this fabric. I wasn't planning this one, so I haven't quite got the right thing. But say that's your fabric and it's on fold, and then you put your pattern against here. That can actually be quite bulky. I wouldn't recommend that you put your fusible fleece on when you cut your first piece of fabric, because the bulk here can actually make the pattern, make the fabric a little bit bigger than it needs to be. Just move that out of the way a little bit. So does that make sense? So maybe I have a Build a Bag book here. Let's have a look. So this is a little impromptu, and this is obviously a pattern that I've used a lot. I can go there. So, and my fabric doesn't fit, but you'll get the gist. So if I put my pattern here, and I've got place on fold here, because this is quite bulky, this fabric's going to be slightly too large. So if you've got thick fabric, I would suggest that you draw out one half of the pattern on this side while the fabric's flat, flip it over and draw out the second half of the fabric here. Then you're going to get the perfect size of fabric. If that hasn't worked, the patterns are a little bit like jigsaw puzzles, so they all fit together a bit like dressmaking patterns. So if you find that the outside panels are a little bit too big, you can just cut another base that's a little bit longer, or you can shave a little bit off the side. As long as all of the measurements fit, it doesn't make any difference to the look of the bag if it's a 1/4 of an inch difference here or there. Bases. Oh, yes, I can show that, wasn't I? My fabric. A little tip for putting in bases, and I did put this on a YouTube video if you want to have a look later. When you sew together the 4 squares of a base, so this could be the occasion bag, you're going to get something that looks like this. I've made the seams larger than I normally would do here. I'd normally use a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, but I've made them just over 1/2 an inch just so you can see what I'm doing. So when you put the base in, it's tempting to line up the edge of the base here with the seam and then start to sew. You're not going to find that it fits at all. You'll need to start with this section overlapping so that the edges of the fabric meet, and then you can start sewing from the seam, which is just here. So then when you line all the sides up, they should overlap to again the edge of the fabric there. So you'll sew with your seam allowance up to here and then turn around onto the next section like so. So you've got your seam allowances all joined up in the centre there. So I hope that makes sense. But line up the edges of the fabric each time and your bases should fit. If you find your bases a little bit too long, which I think is one of the questions that we had on Facebook, trim it down a little bit. Again, that may be because your outer fabric isn't cut exactly to the shape of the pattern. It happens, I do it all the time. So just trim the base down a bit, that won't make any difference at all. Hi Emily from Guernsey. Hi Ruth. And do you like using fusible foam on both sides? I mentioned that earlier on, Kim. No, I'd keep the foam to the... If I was making a bag that isn't the satchel, I'd keep the foam to the outside. Zip panels and side sections, I wouldn't do that. Use foam on a base, but not around the sides. It can make it quite difficult to sew, particularly on smaller bags. Alan says, can you resize the patchwork clutch bag to make it into a laptop bag? As long as you increase all of the dimensions in the same proportion, no problem. Hello from Derby, Ruth Mill. Tracy Gooding says hi, and Pauline and Dawn from France, loving this. Oh, I'm glad you're loving it, Dawn. Très bon. Do you know a good way to make a knitting bag, said Tracy. I've got one on YouTube, which is a like a box shape long bag. Do you need to put knitting needles in? I shall have some thinking time about that one. Hi Aileen, first time messaging, love your books. Thank you very much and welcome along. And Kathy, I made your birthday bear for a friend. I love birthday bear. It's so cute. Coming to the NEC in March. Oh, we'll be at the NEC in March. Oh yes. Now then, I'm going to be quite busy because I've got workshops for all 4 days, and it's pretty full on. I've got 5 a day. But at the side of my stand is a little shop, and my fabrics will be there. We'll have some of my books on there. We'll have my daughter on there, and we'll have my youngest son on there because they're going to be manning and womaning the stand while I'm busy. So pop over and say hello anyway. I'll be able to give you a wave. Sue from Borowash, did I see you had a new fabric range out? It's actually coming out. Have I got some? Yes, I have. Bear with me while I do this. I might not have all of it here. Oh, I might have. What's this one? Oh, right. I've got most of it, but not all of it, because the prints haven't actually come in yet. It's so exciting. The way that it works, I come up with the designs, and these are my sketches. So let me switch you over to this one and move you again. So this is kind of the main fabric, and on here is my pond in my garden with my flowers and my lilies and my garden. It's really weird. It's my garden furniture. This is where we sit in the summertime. I only saw a couple of times. We just get a flash of these wonderful colours of kingfishers. We do have fish in there, so a bit worrying. So I put the kingfishers on there, and then we've got the actual lily pads and frogs. We get loads and loads of frogs. Well, we get loads and loads of frog spawn. We get loads of tadpoles. They don't tend to last very long, to be honest. The colours that have been put together for the range are all kingfisher type of colours, and they mix and match really well. There's some paler ones. There's that one with the lilies on there. There's 10 in the range altogether. But it's not launching until the end of May, and it will be launching. Oh, there's the kingfishers. Look at them, those are pretty. It'll be launching in Hobbycraft, and they'll have exclusivity for a whole week until it goes on general sale. So that's really exciting. Oh, so the way that it works, if you're interested, I drew the sketches. I take them to the Craft Cotton Company, to a very talented designer called Vicky, who literally takes my sketches and makes them fabricable. So they are my sketches. She puts the colours on. Then we get drawings on card like this come through and make sure everything's okay. Then it goes off to the factory in Korea, and they send back what's called a strike off, which is what these bits are, just to make sure that the quality of the fabric's good and the print's okay. Some of the printing on that, the lines are a bit thick, so it goes straight back again, then it comes back again, and that happens until we're really happy with it. And then we order the prints. So the actual fabric won't probably be arriving for about another month or so. But yeah, it's really exciting. So May, I shall keep you posted on that one. So, oh, enough. Dora from Northern Ireland, hello. What are you making? Just joined. Not making in this one. Got loads of questions. So we're doing a quiz. I tell you what, the next one, which will be on the 20th of March. Let's do a special little project. It'll only be a little makeup bag or something like that, but we'll have a bit of a sew along, shall we? I'll put on Facebook what I'm going to do, and then we'll spend a whole hour just sewing together. I think that'd be nice. Lisa Fenn should charge royalties for the... Sorry, my contact lenses went a bit. For the line, sewing patterns are a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. Yep. So, what's the best fabric for the satchel? I think you meant the satchel, not the sachet. From Joanne. I was going to chat about that actually, because we had another question from Debbie, who's near Newcastle, who says, I'd like to make a satchel from some fabric I have left over from a dress that I made for my daughter, but it's quite flimsy. Can I still use it? Basically, you can use anything you like, and if it's a fine fabric, put interfacing behind it, interfacing, stabilizer, same kind of thing. For this bag, one that I made, I put a really stiff interfacing. It was Visaline Decaville, which looks and feels like leather. It's quite stiff. I've decided I'm not a fan. It's okay for something like this. It's really hard, but I have tried making a complete bag out of it, and it's like trying to turn cardboard inside out. So for single panels like this, then that's absolutely fine. But if you've got a finer fabric, put something quite sturdy behind it. So your foam's going to be okay. This is a Bosal sewing stabilizer, which is about 1/8 of an inch in thickness, and it's a polyester. You can get fusible ones as well, where you iron them on. That's the kind of thing that I'd use on the rest of it. So it depends what kind of bag you want. Any kind of fabric, if it's very, very fine, I'd use a firmer stabilizer or the foam. If it's a heavy weight of fabric, you might only need a little bit of interfacing, or you might not need anything at all. If you've got a very fine fabric, use something heavier. I think I just said that. And if you've got a stretch fabric, yes, you can make bags out of stretch fabric, but you need to stop them from stretching. So put some firm stabilizer behind the stretch, and then you'll be okay. So I like cotton. I like quite a heavy cotton for bags, but there are no rules. You go with whatever fabric you like. So go for your print first. If you like your print, you're going to love your bag, and it doesn't really matter what the fabric's like. Susan is in North Idaho. Oh, and Dawn in Belgium. And have you got a man bag on your to-do list, says Anne. I hadn't. Would you like a man bag? I shall put it on the to-do list. Fabrics kit. Thank you. I'm glad you like the fabric, Dawn and Kim. And Debbie from Bromley, hi. Sue says congratulations on you, and thank you. Could you say happy birthday to my sister Sheila Dudley? Happy birthday, Sheila Dudley. Oh, Anne can do a man bag for you. There you go. Brandy says thank you. Hi Joanne, and hi Rachel. Oh, she's done a satchel already. Well, we'll have pictures on Facebook, please, if you don't mind. Heather, hi. Oh, you're in Australia at 10 past 6 in the morning. Woo! Are you summer over there? Do you normally get up at 10 past 6, or is this especially for us? Glad you like the fabrics. Liz, love the idea of a sew along. We'll do it. We shall do it next time. Yeah? Okay. Lisa Fenn's got some faux leather. Is that too thick to make the satchel from? No, it's... I hadn't got one. I've been using it today, actually, because I'm working on the next two Build-A-Bag books, and I've been making drawstring bags. So no, it's perfect for the faux leather. That's really nice. Still put your stabiliser on the back of it though, because the faux leather's got a bit of stretch in it, and you don't want a baggy bag. You don't want to be walking down the street and it's bouncing off the pavement. It's not a good look. Sue says, foam stabiliser, would you trim down near the seam? Yes, I did say earlier on, if you prise your fabric open and trim it back to the seam, that's fine. And I find that easier really than you could cut the foam to your seam allowance shorter than your fabric, but you'll realise you've got a life. So it's easier to sew it all together than trim the seam down afterwards. Ali says, can you advise what is the best way to finish off putting in a zip in a dress at the base without it looking bulky? I think that's a whole tutorial, isn't it? We'll do some zippage on the Half Yard Club website. How about that? I'll put some ideas together for you, because I don't know whether you're doing an invisible zip. It may be on a dress. Susan, thank you. Oh gosh, Sally from Apache Junction in Arizona. Oh, we're all over the place. Denise says, do you have a video of a duffel travel bag? Oh, there is a simple one on my YouTube channel, but that's the whole book I'm working on at the moment, so you're gonna have to wait for those. Thank you, Rosalind and Beverly. Oh, thank you. Want to make the bag with some upholstery fabric that I have. Will it work with a foam stabiliser? The foam stabiliser, I think with upholstery fabric, will be too thick, personally, unless again you just use it over the back and the flap. But with upholstery fabric, you may need to put some kind of stabiliser behind there, even if it's the kind that they use for interfacing on dressmaking, because you've probably got a looser weave of fabric and it may kind of shift a little bit. Thank you, Debbie. Sue says, what sewing machine needle would you use for faux leather or corduroy? Try a denim needle. A denim needle isn't just for denim, it's a strong needle. For faux leather, I don't think you're going to need a leather needle, but you could try a leather needle. I don't normally use one, I just use a universal one, to be honest. Depends how thick your faux leather is. With a leather needle, it's the point is like a chisel shape, so when it goes into the leather it makes a split, and leather being a natural fabric heals around the stitch, so it all closes up afterwards. But with faux leather that's not going to happen. Some of them, if you give them a blast of steam off your iron from the back, it can close them. So for instance, if you've sewn a wonky line and you need to unpick it and you're left with holes, you could try a blast of steam and it closes it, but I just use a universal one, I think. Hi, Linda in Sussex. And Eddie, are you bringing back faux leather? Do you know Eddie Parker, if you happen to be at the NEC at Sewing for Pleasure next month, I will have faux leather in pink. Well, Kimberly will have faux leather in pink and mustard, got a new mustard, and black and grey. If not, I may be having a website after June and it'll be on there, but I didn't say that out loud. Work in progress. Oh, Lisa, she says the room's quiet. What have I done with Bobbin? I'd shut her out. She's kind of twigged what's happening here. She doesn't just sit quietly or pop her nose up. She goes bark, 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 and can't hear anything. So she's playing with Gary, who's playing with his granddaughter. Hi, Mary in Spain. Rosalind says, which stabiliser do I use on the waistband on a wraparound skirt? I fancy having a go. Depending on the weight of your fabric, your stabiliser is normally the same weight. If you've got a kind of shop like Joan Lewis says that sells stabiliser and dressmaking fabric, go in and ask them which one to use. Or have a look at Visaline, and they do a special interfacing for waistbands, which is slightly heavier, but that might be an option for you. Lisa and Debbie, you just carry on talking between yourselves, that's fine. Thank you, Elaine. And Sarah, thank you for Sarah as well. I think we've got everybody there. So let's go back to questions. So we've done that, and oh, right. Hi everyone. I don't know who this one's from. It's on a Facebook, but no, sorry, it was on our members page on the website, but you didn't put your name. And he or she says, I've just watched Debbie's instructions about the amount of material to buy for a pattern. My question is, when looking at the sizes, do you go by the largest measurement on your body for the material required, i.e. if you're bigger on the hips, so they come under a 14, but the bust is a size 12, do you buy the material allowance required for the 14? This might seem obvious but to others, but I find it confusing. Many thanks. So, first of all, before we go back to whether you're a size 12 top and a size 12 bottom, have you looked at the measurements on your pattern? Or have you just gone by the size 14 and the size 12? Ignore those sizes on the pattern, go by the measurements because they vary a lot. Before now, I'm a size 10, 12. I've actually made up a pattern in a size 20 before now because that's what the measurements were on it, so they vary. And then you would buy the pattern that fits your bust, because the bust is the most difficult area to increase or decrease. Hips are easy, but buy the fabric for the hips, because if you just buy the fabric for the bust measurement, you might not have enough. So buy enough fabric for your hips, make your pattern to the bust, but increase the size of the pattern to the hips. So I hope that explains that. Thank you. Sharon Carter. So my handwriting is dreadful. Since everything's typewritten, I can't write anymore. I think it's Carter, sorry. Which zips would I recommend for the Builder Bag books? The zips on a roll or open-ended zips? And she says she can't find the length of the zips that's required in the books. So, what I would recommend, sorry about this, let's have a look at these. Not an open-ended zip. I don't actually have an open-ended zip, but an open-ended zip literally opens up at the end. So we'd use an open-ended zip for a jacket, where you unzip it and the whole thing comes open. So not for bags, not for my bags anyway. So this is a closed-end zip that you would just buy from a store. I think that one's about 8 inches. So it's got the stopper on the one end here, and it's got 2 metal stoppers at the top here, and that stops the slider coming off the end. So let's have to talk about the anatomy of a zip. So this is the zip tape. The metal bits are the stoppers. These on metal zips are teeth. On nylon zips it's actually a coil. So if I was to unpick this, it would all come out in one straight line. The bit that goes up and down here is the slider, and this little bit on the end is the pull. So a regular zip like this has stoppers on the end to stop the slider sliding off the end. I don't necessarily buy zips on a roll, but I do buy continuous zips, which are these, which you get a fabulous range from on eBay. They come with the sliders separately, so you'll need to attach those, and I can show you how to do that if you like. And these are the ones that I generally use on bags. Whether it's a pre-cut length like this or a continuous zip, I always like the zips longer than I need, so I can chop the ends off. So I can chop the ends of these stoppers off because I won't use those on a bag. And on a continuous zip like this, it means I can move the slider right out of the way, so I'm not interfering with the sewing. And these are really cost effective because if I'm buying zips, I'll tend to buy really long ones so I can cut them down. But with a zip like this, I can have a 2-inch zip if I wanted. I can have a 10-inch, and you can kind of cut your zip accordingly. Let me show you how you fix these on. The nice thing about these as well is that you can have 2 zips facing each other. So if you're making backpacks like what I am at the moment with my new book and all, you can have 2 zips facing in opposite directions. So what you're going to do is to peel open the zip. Some of these come with zip pulls on them already. And on the left hand side, I'm going to cut alongside the coil by about 1/2 inch or so, and then chop it off at an angle. And on this side, I'm going to trim the end of the zip to where I first started trimming there. Then you put your slider on. So thread it onto that length of coil that's sticking out. Push it down until you can hold onto the coil, and then push the other side in and squeeze it down until it grips. And there you've got your slider on. So this is what I prefer. These are actually quite big. This is an N5 size. An N3 size would be more that kind of size. So either of those, it doesn't really matter. You can get loads of colours in them as well. So I hope that's... Oh, and she said, what length of zip? I can't find it in the book. So let's go back over here. This is the Occasion Bags book. And let me do that again. We'll find one with a zip. It's the same in all of my books. You'll have kind of an ingredients page, a bit like a recipe. So over here it says you will need, and it says here 14-inch zip. And again, that will be longer than the zip that you actually need. So in any of the books, it will be on the you will need section on there, the length of the zip that you need. Right, so let's have a look who else we've got. Have we seen Sarah and said hello and thank you? And Anne, oh hi! Thank you, Anne, and congratulations on the awards. Oh, Anne is from Hunky Dory, or Inspirations in Preston, and she very kindly put together some bundles of fabric for the quilt along, the quilt as you go. Can I say that you've got some more, or do we wait until we've got an announcement, or have I just spoken too soon? Might be worth looking on the Inspirations. Have a look on the members page to get your code. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Sue Clark, hope you're still living your scanner cut. I do, it's down here actually, yes. And no, don't be Lisa, fine. Just carry on. I think it's fun. Hi Pam, thank you. And Mary, thank you. And Carol, thank you. Would you be able to find members local? Oh, that's a nice idea. Carol's saying she's in Kent. She says we'll be able to find members locally to possibly meet up. Go into the members area on the website and just say, I'm Karen and I'm in Kent. Anybody around? Fancy a coffee? Or the likes, you know. Oh, that would be nice actually, wouldn't it? Yeah, let's do that. Hi Laverne, glad you're there. I think Olivia's ahead of me answering the questions, isn't she? I'm catching up. Morning, Debbie. Morning. From Tassie, getting ready for work. Can't believe I found you live. Normally it's around 3 o'clock. Oh, that's early. Lisa, can we get a round of applause for Miss Shaw? Thank you very much, Lisa. Round of applause. Unicats. Thank you, Sonia. And Mary, how many different sliders do you get when you buy zips on a roll? Depends where you get them from. Mine has 10, maybe 10 or 12. It depends what brand they are. And good places will have extras that you can buy as well. Oh, Hope Lynch Cooper from Tennessee in the USA. Glad I could watch today. Love making your bags. Thank you very much, Hope. And your message was meant to say that it's good to see you at the trade show. Thank you. Good to see you too. And love the next fabric. The next fabric lunch. Is that an offer? California Laverne Paget. Hello. Kathleen made the pink cushion behind for her mother's 100th birthday. Oh, how lovely. Now then, this one is a little something that we're going to have coming up in April, I think. Let me have a look. Yes. So it's a smocking design called Leaves. I don't know if you've done any smocking before. I went through a whole phase of smocking everything from chairs to bed heads and bags and of course cushion covers as well. But it's very difficult to find patterns for them. There used to be a pattern company called, oh, something dots, knots dots, I think it was. And you could buy a paper pattern with dots all over it, and then you'd have to join the dots together, and it's, oh, it made your eyes go funny. I thought it was really confusing. So I spent, on and off, probably a couple of years, trying to work out all of the different patterns, and I found about 15, and leaves is one of my favourite ones. It's quite easy. So instead of using knots dots, I use a 1-inch quilter's grid, which you can find from Inspirations in Preston, and just draw the lines on the back of there. So this is the kind of thing that we're going to be making. It's probably going to be a bit bigger than this one. Melissa made this one a few years ago. And in fact, Ruth from Derby, who messaged earlier on, it's all your fault. Years ago, we were sitting having a chat, I mean, a long, long time ago, gosh. And she said, Ruth's one of my mates, and she said, in fact, Ruth's my mate, her grandma used to have a book on smocking. She said, you'd like doing that. So anyway, she went off to take a look for grandma's book on smocking and couldn't find it. So meanwhile, I got on internet and started buying magazines from Brazil, of all places, and learnt the technique, and I got really hooked. So yeah, we're going to bring it back again. We're going to do a little bit more smocking. It won't just be smocking. That's another thing about the Half Yard Club. If the main project that you say is, oh, I don't want to smock a cushion, so I'm not going to join, there are lots of other things happening at the same time. So when we're smocking, we've also got a reversible messenger bag. We have, this is April, so it's not there yet. It'll be block 4 of block of the month. We're going to do an introduction to hand sewing in the techniques page, and April will be the full bust adjustment that you've all been asking for on patterns. That's April. March, we have kitchen accessories coming up, which are the chicken appliques on the tea cozy, mug hug, coffee cozy, and oven mitts. That's going to be the main one. And you get all the patterns to do the chickens and everything. But then you've got block 3. We have a stretch skirt project coming up next month, and that's going to be how to make your own pattern to fit you. So there's no zips involved. There is a vent at the back because I don't want you all walking like Marilyn. But I'm going to explain to you how to draft a very, very simple pattern for a stretch skirt. And then you've got an introduction into stretch fabrics, and your pattern, because we're starting dressmaking now, is transferring markings. I'm going a bit backwards there, aren't I? In February, you have your satchel. You have the second block of the month, which is pinwheel. You've got an extra block project, which is, am I sat on it? It's the cushion cover behind me here. And that I'll show you. Ooh, here we go. The back of it's got a concealed zip under here. So for anybody new to sewing, it's learning techniques as well. There's lots of different ways of putting zips in cushion covers, but that seems to be a popular one. And that's block 2 of the block of the month. But just to show you, you don't have to make a quilt. You can make other things with it as well. What else we got this month? Oh, and then we're going to start. Last month on dressmaking was the pattern packaging. This month on dressmaking is your pattern instructions and your pattern markings. And then we'll go through to transferring markings, then straight into full bust adjustment. So that's what's coming up soon. Got loads of stuff going on, haven't we? Oh, and Anne says the fabric isn't there yet, but shouldn't be too long. Sorry. Sonia, Tasmania, Australia. Lisa's cats are sleeping. Pull half a metre of thread out of Charlie's. Oh, do you know, bull terriers, carrier bags. A number of times. Glad you like the cushion. Debbie. Look forward to having a go at the cushion. Good. And Bentley. Oh, there you go. When are your new books out? Did you say they were builder bags? I haven't written both of them yet. There will be backpacks and satchels. They'll be different. Don't like doing everything the same, but they won't be out until later on in the year. Melissa says, fantastic pattern. My first mocking project. It was, wasn't it? I remember that. She says she was really pleased with it. Thanks, Melissa. Trudy says, it's Trudy from Suffolk. What paper can I use for copying dress patterns? Just say, would you mind having a look in? There's a basket around the corner. It's got all papers and stuff in tubes. and there's by the fireplace, and there's a roll of paper with blue dots on it. Yeah, there should be quite a large roll. It might not be there. That's the one. Thank you. Thank you very much. This is probably noise, isn't it? This is pattern paper. So ideally, I'd use this. To be honest, I don't know what all the numbers are for, but it keeps everything lined up. And one of the reasons I like to use it is because it's nice quality. It's not like just brown paper or wallpaper, which is very thick, but the markings on it means that you can keep everything nice and straight, and you get loads for your money. And I'd get that from Amazon. If you haven't got that kind of paper, or you're on a budget, thank you. You thought I was coming to you then, didn't you? Then anything. Use wallpaper. That's fine. Use cardboard. That's absolutely fine. But that's what I tend to use personally. Oh, you've been at the NEC, Helen, with the caravan and camping show. We walked past because we went on the sky walk to the shopping centre. So we went past all the caravan and camping show. Melissa, you'd have loved it. You'd have bought another motorhome. Thank you, Alison. And red dot dressmaking paper Alan uses. How is Kimberly's sewing going, says Sonia. Happy to see she's in. How's your sewing going, Kim?
Really good.
Really good, she says. Really good. Got your wrap dress pattern. Is the video to it? There was a video with a link on the packaging, but the links have somehow stopped working since I left Crafter's Companion. But let me know if you're having a problem with it, because I might be able to help you there. Drop me a message on Facebook. Thank you, Julie. And Jackie, Swedish tracing paper is good for pattern tracing. Thank you very much, Jackie. Ali Wing, hope you like the picture of the mushroom fabric. Yes, I think I said to you all this, and I've actually used that fabric in my next book. My next book is So Outdoor Living, which is coming out in May, and I've used that for some of the projects in there. Anne says the pattern for my wedding dress all those decades ago was made from brown paper by a company in London, and she's still got it. And you know, Anne, I bet you still fit it as well, don't you? Enviably. What time was it? Oh, we've been 3/4 of an hour. I've had a long one, this one. So, okay. So the next live Facebook is going to be on March the 20th, which will be a Wednesday at 7 p.m. If you have any questions, if you're a member, please go through to the members section of the website and put your questions on there. Or again, if you've got any suggestions for topics. I'll do a little bit of homework and have a look at some projects that we could do in a short space of time. But if you want me to show you anything particular, then come and let me know. Don't forget you've got your free trial for a whole month on Half Yard Sewing Club. So the details Olivia has put in the post there, so have a look back. But basically you go on the site, you will need to register, and you have to put all of your details in there and everything, because that's how it has to happen. But then you put in the code Thimble in capital letters. Sorry, no, you don't. You put welcome in capital letters 18. Again, it's back in the comments, and we'll give you a whole month for free. And it's just not 1 month. You get backdated for a whole year. We haven't been going for a year, so you'll get backdated to when we first start. So pop over there, have a look, let me know what you think, let me know what you'd like. Members, have a look at that members area, and I'd love you to introduce yourselves to each other and get chatting. I'll try and be there as much as I can. I'll answer as many questions as I can, but I'm not an expert in everything, and there is somebody out there that I'm sure is. So that was the reason of bringing it together. So come and chat, even if it's just to say hello. I think that would be very nice. So that's, oh, hang on, we haven't finished yet. Well done, Kimberly, says Sonia. Lisa says, do I know when I'm next on Create and Craft? I don't know. They've got, I've got a Singer embroidery machine, but it's not until 10th of March, I think. Don't know. They seem a bit busy at the moment. Rachel's never sewn any clothing, so looking to make hubby some PJs. Any advice, please? Pyjamas are actually very easy. You've got loads of patterns out there. Have a look at McCall's and Butterick. They do quite a wide range, and they have really clear instructions on those patterns as well. Hi Kim. Last question, says promise. Last question, I promise. How would I use freezer paper? Freezer paper has a waxy side to it which melts when it's ironed. So you can use it for transferring patterns. So you'd simply iron the waxy side onto your fabric, just a hot iron. You can draw on it, you can use it for a plique, that's perfect for a plique, but then you can just peel it off really simply and it doesn't leave the wax on your fabric. So it's really easy to use as well, and you should find it in the grocery aisle of your local supermarket. Barbara says, like to be... Oh, thank you Barbara, appreciate that. And Sonia, and Dawn, and thank you. And yes, Alan, thank you. Stretchy jersey would be good, top sex stretchy. Remember, we've got skirt next month. Oh, Ali, you've missed Emmerdale. Never mind, there's always catch up. Patterns for the cafeteria mug are going to be in April. Lisa. Are you going to be at the Olympia show on the 3rd of March? I did say earlier, Helen, I'm not sure whether I'm going or not. But I shall post if I could. I'd like to. I like Knit and Stitch shows. Do you know, last year we went. I did a little demo, and I think was it 3 days it was on for, Kim? I can't remember. I think 3 days. And I came home in between, and on the Saturday it was so snowy we couldn't get out of the village. I couldn't get back again, and Kim, living in London, had to go and pick up all of my stuff and everything. I just couldn't get there. But it was literally like knee deep in snow. And isn't it bizarre that now we're having one of the mildest winters and you can go outside without a coat on? Weird, isn't it? And I'm going in a minute. Just want to check everybody. Glad you like your butterick, Rachel. And Mary's just woken up in Adelaide. Morning. Okay, I'm done. It's been lovely to have your company this evening. I hope you've enjoyed the chat. And I shall see you again live on the 20th of March. Bye-bye.